Welcome to another edition of Strange New Pod. I'm your Fleet Admiral and host, Julian Brown, alongside the best bridge crew this side of Curzon's Batleth. Glory to him and his house. Vice Admiral Eric is here having an Enterprise party in his basement. How many times did you play Faith of the Heart earlier?
Oh, way too many. Ever since we saw the screener, I was like, oh fuck, it's the time. It's time to play it.
Oh man. I'm still going. Captain Hawk was gonna be here, but he couldn't find a way to borrow Julian's holo emitter, so mobile emitter, so no Hawk tonight. Sub-Commander Draft flew to Canada to join Eric's Enterprise party. It already happened. Right. She messaged, she's back, she's in the uniform, it happened. Yeah, in honor
my uniform. It's like I stole it from, a dead ensign. I'm like,
that's how it goes.
Way too big.
That's how it goes. Yeah, I'm surprised that you have the uniform on. That's amazing. This is all in honor of T'Pol, by the way, if you haven't figured that part out yet. And Captain MC is here, who has probably been in a state of shocked happiness since Garrick and Bashir shared that very passionate kiss.
I've just from the moment Garrick walked on screen, I was just like freaking out.
Oh, baby, this episode. Excuse me, you're gonna have to bear with me. I am sick as a dog, and I'm here only because is that street corn? Is that a corn dog?
It's a Korean corn dog.
It's a Korean corn dog. Let's go.
That's the right ones. I'm making myself a corn dog.
Oh, I'm so here for it. I'm so here for it.
No, with that kind of podcast, we're gonna get like new listeners because I'm eating on the feed.
Dude, I'll take the ASMR listeners. That's money right there. Welcome aboard the Anaximander, who was a Greek philosopher, by the way. And as she chooses, I'm going to hand that to Draft to tell us more.
About what?
About Anaximander.
Yeah, he's a pre-Socratic. Was it what I know? You can fact check me because I've not looked that up. Pre-Socratic, philosopher. I think he was working with Thales. Thales? Yeah, I think so. And he actually put, he was one of the first to support the idea that everything is science and that nature and so on has rules, as like humans and human society have rules. And what else do I know about that guy? That's a good question. Like, it was about like logic and gnomon and the fact that things were like,
yeah, he had ideas about the planets. Yeah,
the universe and like how everything like was working with rules, basically.
So
is that
basically,
it?
That's it. That's it. That's the right guy.
It is the right guy. Yeah,
it is the right guy, and it's a great name for Boing Boing's William Boing Boing starship, which was. So
I'm being tested to know if I like actually have a degree in what I say.
Every now and then, I throw a little test in there. We got to make sure you are who you say you are.
I mean, from what I was able to see, like there actually is not like, because he was so early, there's not like huge amounts known about him. So yeah, you had everything.
You did. You passed the test. You passed the test.
Thank you.
So
while eating a corn dog in a Star Trek uniform. Thank you.
Doesn't really get much better than that. I didn't ask everybody how they are. How is everybody? Are we alive? Are we well? Giraffe's got a corn dog. She's the best out of all of us.
She is. Yeah.
We're doing okay. Yeah. Not as good as Giraffe, but
Not as good as Giraffe. No. I watched Skeleton Crew and had cookies right before this, so that helped the cold a little bit. So.
What a delightful episode.
It was a delightful episode. This week, this hurts my heart. The penultimate episode, for now, of Star Trek Lower Decks, episode 509, Fissure Quest. What happens when we discover that Captain William Boimler's Section 31 mission has been to discover who has been behind the quantum fissures being opened? Who are members of his crew? Did you know that the episode description for this one is totally a butt joke? 1,000%. We're going to break it all down. And since there is a lot to get to, and we really just want to talk about this one really bad, patrons, we hope you understand we're going to just try and move in to the show as quickly as possible. But a quick shout out to our EPs, our bad roll, Simon Stager, Chris Waterman, Tara Poland, and Brett Jones. Thank you for keeping our quantum fissures moist. Ooh. Sure. That's the best I could come up with tonight.
Containing our Katras.
Containing our Katras, watching our sodium levels.
No, never.
Never.
Sodium is life.
Never.
Yes, sodium is up for life. Yeah.
I have a very, very, very quick news. Last week on the show, as I was listening from the shadows, Eric did something really special for patrons, and I've been teasing for months that there's going to be an upcoming episode of the pod, like a normal episode, not a patron episode, like live for everybody, that relies heavily on you, our patron collective. And that is now coming very fast. Some things arrived at, I'll say, Starfleet Intelligence. Some other things are going to be happening with those. So soon you're going to be receiving something. And this is every paid patron, whether you're a $1 level or an EP, you're going to receive something in the mail from a mysterious benefactor. We ask that you don't share any info, nothing, or photos of what you receive. There's going to be a time for that.
We will find you.
We will find you, and we will sick Liam Neeson on you. Eric is going to be creating a special channel on the Discord where folks who have had their item delivered can simply type received. This is going to be a whole thing. It's going to be really fun, but more will be revealed on the day and time. Eric is not liking my idea. Is this not possible?
No, I accidentally opened Discord and it just went over everyone's face. I was like, fuck.
Love
Dude,
that.
I'm eating Japanese.
It's good. It's
mayonnaise.
probably not a
It's
bad
so good.
thing. Yeah. So more is going to be revealed on the day and time of our show that is going to be on January 16th, 2025. So take that date and look at where it lies for what you will and what this show may be about. But more info is coming, and patrons, this is going to be really fun. I know I'm stoked. I know Eric's planning some stuff already. The crew saw some stuff I'm working on. It's going to be a lot of fun. Anything else? Any other news? No. Cool. Let's get into the strange new loop. This is an easy one. William Boimler's crew is already epic, and I actually feel like we should just leave it alone, but we're not going to. Did you find someone was missing? Who would you have liked to see and why? Chat, let us know as well. Crew, is there anyone that you would have? Yeah, go ahead, MC.
So I know everybody's going to expect me to say something Kelvin verse, which would actually make sense because Mike McMahon did say that he had tried to get Chris Pine. And so I'm thinking that it might have been for this episode, but that's actually not who I would say. I feel like the one thing that this episode is missing is a representative from New Trek. And for me, that would be a Michael Burnham who never mutinied against Giorgio.
Huh. Okay.
But here is the thing. Because everybody has somebody that they play against, you would need to have somebody for Michael to play against. And so my answer to that would be Chris Pine's Kirk. So
Nice. Anybody else? I like that.
I have one.
Go ahead.
I would have an older Hemmer that didn't die.
Oh,
nice.
They need an engineer. Did they have an engineer other than
they had Mariner?
Mariner
showed up. I don't think anybody was actually in engineering. I feel like Garrick maybe was like.
They had the Kim crew.
The Kim crew. That's fair.
Yeah.
I want Murph.
Murph.
Yes.
Yeah.
Murph.
Oh my God, that would have been
that
amazing.
would have been. Thank you. Yeah, Murph.
I just want to see that in that style, like Murph in Lower Deck style.
The Lower Deck style.
Yeah.
It could be really cool. I have to say Worf because somewhere
Human more.
human Worf. Worf's Rizhenko, right? With no ridges. No, but like, from the episode Parallels, there's so many goddamn Worfs. Like, just give us a Worf from Parallels. He could be mad that it's not Jadzia and, it's Curzon and they could fight. Yeah, There's lots of fun that could be had there. We have some, holy shit, this chat is moving fast. Some great answers in the chat. Matt writes Lexwana Troy. I like it. Chris writes Peanut Hamper. No, goodbye.
Cancelled.
Sorry, buddy. Jedi Cat, I would like to have seen alternate universe Admiral Pike or Kelvin Mirror Universe Khan. So we're talking like John Harrison.
Mirror Universe Khan.
Yeah.
Yeah, there actually is one in the comics, and he's a hippie.
I like it. I like it. A Kim, probably another Kim. Mayor Colber. Oh, Mayor Colber was hot. He's already hot. And then just like you add another layer there. I like that. Yi Bombay in alternate Porthos.
Aw.
Would he have like one ear instead of two? Beagle ears are so cute. Like
Beagle with a mustache.
Beagle with a mustache. I like it. I'm running a Rock Talk from Amy. That's a great choice. Let's see Rock anywhere in Star Trek again. Rick Hernandez writing Connor Turnier's Trip. That would be great to go off to poll.
No, Death to Trip.
Death to Trip. He's dead. He's not coming back. No.
It's my veto. It's no Trip. Go away.
No trip. These are all really good answers. People just keep going. We could do the whole show on this. I'll read two more and we're going to go. I like Arix and I like Kelvin April as well. So many good options here, but we are going to get in to our review of this episode. It is episode 509 of Lower Decks. Next week is definitely not the finale. There's like 10 more episodes, right, guys?
Yes.
At least 10 more.
6 seasons in a movie.
6 seasons in a movie. 509 Fissure Quest. Our order tonight is going to go Giraffe, MC, Eric, followed by myself. We are going to do things a little bit old school, strange new pod. We're not going to go kind of in the natural order of the episode of the events, which is, something we kind of used to do in the old days, and give some initial thoughts like we used to do. So, Giraffe, initial thoughts on this batshit crazy episode.
Like in general, the whole episode.
Just general, yeah.
I think it's the episode I've been asking for since episode 3. I think, at episode 3, I was like, well, where's the plot then? Like, they baited us in like episode 1 and then kind of led us there, more or less. So I was really happy that we were back to the main plot. I wanted to know what was going on. And I would have wanted to know like what was going on several episodes, not just 2. But initial thought, I think that's the last hurrah. It's an incredible episode to be episode 9. It's what every Trekkie's wanted. I think it's also the production of people who don't give a fuck anymore and are like, we're gonna do what we want because what are you gonna do? Cancel us? So it's a great episode. It's a fantastic episode, and it's an episode that shows that Trekkies are making Star Trek, and
100%.
That is great.
Yeah. MC.
This is a brilliant episode. I might have posted it in our chat where I was just like, I was screaming from the cold open, just like from the very start, like, neurodivergent flappy arms, and just like I could not deal with how excited I was for this episode. And the thing is, it's not just that they have so many guest stars and that there's so much fan service in it. Everybody that's in there is in there for a really good reason. They are not just there to look, we got to Paul, look, we have a bunch of Harry Kims. No, everybody has a reason, and all of the plots, are woven together incredibly well. And not only that, but it does pull together not only the main plot, but it pulls together Boimler's plot, even though he's not in this episode for more than a minute. And this is something that I will be getting into more as we are actually discussing the episode. But it kind of blew my mind how this episode really bookends the first episode when we see that, version of Boimler that Rad Boimler's been imitating all season. So this is wonderful.
So MC, low key, like when you texted in the messenger that you had feelings, sometimes that's your code too for having like bad feelings about an episode. Like
That is
Giraffe
true.
and I were low key freaking out that you hated the episode after we watched. We're like,
Oh,
I was
what
like, why
does
didn't she
MC
hate it? What's
about this
sorry? What
episode?
happened?
I'm so sorry. I was trying not to give spoilers.
Oh,
That's why I gave it a little heart instead of like anything else. I was like, I like this one.
I was like, wait, this is like the best episode of all time. Why did she hate it? What's going on? No, that's so funny. This episode. Wow, we have so many fucking people in the chat. Thank you,
Whoop, whoop.
everybody. Like,
Second last Lower Decks, right?
damn.
And
Welcome,
such a good
everybody.
episode.
Such an amazing.
Such a great episode. Eric, thoughts,
I
prayers.
fucking love this episode. This might be one of my favorite Lower Decks episodes. The reason why I like Enterprise so much is that they did like time travel, like they did the Time War stuff. It was so different than what Star Trek we've seen before. So seeing the ship going from dimension to dimension dimension, it was just, I like when Star Trek diverges a little bit from the, being in their own universe. So they got me there. The crew obviously was amazing, seeing what ifs of the ship put together. It was great seeing a relationship we wanted on DS9 realized on screen here. And it was just, there was so much that just made me smile. Seeing people return from one of my favorite Star Trek movies, just, that was not on my bingo card for Lower Decks ever.
Ever.
So,
It's
so-
right there.
and being Asian, Harry Kim, man, seeing Harry Kim, was this something that was spoiled in the trailers? I didn't watch
Yeah.
it. Like,
Yeah,
It was
Harry
in the
was in the
trailers,
trailers.
so when I
Yeah.
saw Harry Kim, the multiple Harry Kims, I died in so much happiness. I had to pause because I was crying from happiness.
Oh,
It was so awesome.
I love that you got to have that moment because like we're all just spoiled by that a little bit. But we got to have the other moments. So that's good.
I'm like, that it's just pure joy. Like, this was like, my only hesitation was like, we didn't get to see the main crew, but that didn't matter because this episode was still amazing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we saw the lower deckers
For a little,
freaking out.
yeah.
Well, and I think, and this is getting into the episode, and I'll go in a second, but I think like that has to do with like what Lily says in the episode, right?
Mhm.
About Boymes and Mariner's relationship. Like that transcends time and space. Like that's still Boymes and Mariner, right? So it's
I
like,
mean, it's very Kelvin verse.
yeah, a little bit. Yeah. Yeah.
Like somehow the same people end up together all
Together, right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're anchor
She was great
beings,
too. Love
right?
Alfre Woodard. They are anchor beings. Yeah. I just watched a bit of Deadpool and Wolverine last night. Oh, so good. I don't know all the things to say about this episode. Like, what I love about this is that I'm sorry, MC, except for MC not getting Kelvin love. This has a little bit of everything from all of our favorite Star Treks, right? Like, I never thought that I would get Julian and Garrick on screen again, whether it's animated or not, right? Giraffe and I and this whole entire pod crew, I think, have been joking forever. Like when Jolene Blaylock, I think it's just Jolene now. We're going to talk
Just
about that.
Jolene, yeah.
Yeah. Showed up at Star Trek Day.
Just
Yeah.
Jolene.
Yeah, just Jolene. Like, is she going to show up on Star Trek again? Like, is this going to happen? And here we are. Like, but it's just incredible. And we always talk about how Lower Decks plays around with fan service, but like nothing about this episode felt like it when the episode was actually happening. It just all felt right yet again. I loved every second of it. T'Pol being in it is just a treat. I think everybody's going to be talking about for a long time. The multiple Harrys just like being, Harry is just, oh man.
And,
This is just such.
of
yeah, go
course, there's multiple Harrys because he's the one that always survives, right?
Yeah.
On Voyager. So it's just
No, he died on Voyager. What are you talking about?
But
It's alternate Kim that they have already.
yeah, fair.
He's the first guy to,
But he does.
to die.
He survives
he is
and he
Voyager's
dies.
cockroach. He does survive a lot too. He had like a space
True.
STD and lived. Like,
Yeah, he was almost like sexed to death by
yeah. Oh man. So like just everything about this is incredible. I mean, listen, like I was so here for Julian and Garrick and hearing their voices again, but I think the thing I texted to Giraffe was, is that fucking Lily or just Lily? Like, dude, never. Like Eric said, like bingo card.
Yeah,
That's
we're
not
watching the screeners at the same time.
Oh yeah, Jean let us know we were watching our screener at the same time because we were both texting her. That's really funny. Let's get into this one. What did we think about this being, because we've been talking about this forever too, finally being the William Boimler episode we've been wanting for like a couple of seasons now. And the fact that it was his mission to figure out what's been going on with these quantum fissures. Draft.
Well, we knew he was gonna show up, right?
Yeah,
Like, I mean,
he had to.
like it's kind of
No.
like Chekhov's gun. Like you can't like have a Boimler in section 31 and just not talk about him. And I think with the whole need for Boimler to be a captain and this whole like will he, won't he, it's a cool way to actually see Captain Boimler without being Busophel's dagger.
Yeah.
And actually be Boimler. I mean, even if it's the duplicate, he's still Boimler, right? And to see that he actually doesn't like it, and I'm here for this. I thought it would have been more section 31E, but I'm kind of happy it's not. And it's just like this guy in a weird ship with weird people just going from like holes to holes.
Even section 31 has like shitty ass boring missions, right?
I mean, it's not a boring mission.
not for us, but for him.
But it's interesting that they're done with it. They're like, and yeah, the how like Prime Boimler would want this so bad, but actually Duplicate doesn't like it, and that's interesting. And it shows growth without having to mess with the original Boimler. And we've been talking a lot how Boimler had not grown, and he was annoying, and he was being like acting up and being a weirdo and so on. And well, I'll take this. I would have rather have like Prime Boimler actually growing. I suppose it's gonna be the finale where he saves the whole universe, but I think it's a nice tease of what.
Did we notice? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, that.
I was going to say, did we notice that the full beard was in with the little bit that we got in the full bridge?
It wasn't dyed either.
Nope. You good, Draft?
Yeah.
MC.
Yeah, so as I started talking about my initial thoughts, that this episode really ties together our Boimler's plot for the season, because when we started off with him in the first episode of the season, Dos Cerritos, he, met this highly competent version of himself that, took the bridge and, was very confident. And so our Boimler for the last 8 episodes has been trying to imitate him using this pad that he stole. And in this episode, we see William Boimler, who is our Boimler from season 1, just with a diverged path from the one in season 2. And we see where he's ended up. And he's ended up in a very similar place as the alternate Boimler. And that's, very successful in his job and, high up in his career. And what is the same about both of them? Neither of them have their friends. Because if you think about in Dos Cerritos, Captain Mariner ain't hanging out with Boimler anymore. I guarantee it, because the crew is way too afraid of her. Rutherford has his emotions taken away from him, so he's not hanging out, and Tendy's off on Orion. So Boimler is, able to gain this confidence because he's not with his friends anymore, which I know sounds like his friends are holding him back. But I think that means that his friends balance Boimler out. A Boimler unchained can be very successful, but as we see with William Boimler, he's so unhappy because the second Mariner comes in, even though it's an alternate Mariner, he becomes Boimler again.
Yeah.
You can hear, like, props to Jack Quaid. You can hear the difference in his voice. He suddenly sounds like Boimler again, rather than this, scary, transporter duplicate who, joined Section 31 and everything. He just sounds like Boimler, and he just acts like Boimler. And I noticed nobody called him William Boimler for the rest of the episode. He's just Boims.
Yeah.
Yeah. So essentially, he accepts himself as being Brad Boimler. And with what Lily said, that, the friendship between Boimler and Mariner transcends dimensions because they're able to just kind of, immediately fall into that pattern again when they run into each other. It is kind of showing, how much he is still Brad Boimler deep down, and I think will be affected in the finale because he trusts himself to actually take on this universe destroying. This might be one of the biggest dangers that has ever happened in any Star Trek. The universe is going to fall apart, all of reality. This is not something that I was expecting to come from the Funny Show. And the reason it's happening is because that transporter duplicate that was kind of just a one-off joke to get Boimler back onto the Cerritos is now tying everything back together.
Yeah. No, absolutely 100%. I love that. He did finally get his due. We've been talking about forever. Cause we keep saying, is he actually going to show up? And listen, 2 episodes before, maybe not, but I like what you said about him being just Boims. Eric.
Yeah, how to add to these two before me. Everything they've said has been perfectly true. There's something to be said about this William Boimler being so jaded in his job at this point. He has everything that Brad wants, right? And he has all these amazing crew members that he would have geeked out about if he was Brad. And he meets Lily and he doesn't immediately geek out. He would know that this is, someone that worked with Zephyr Cochrane, but he's so jaded from the job and being away from everyone and doing this repeated thing that he doesn't want to do. He's just missing home, I guess, or his original life. It's crazy how much that changes when he realizes how much he can rely on himself, and his other self. There's something to be said that he trusts himself so much when the other Prime Brad, is so afraid of himself that he copies that pad, right? Or at least he's unsure. He wants to be,
It's interesting though, because we keep calling him Prime Brad, but technically they're both Prime Brad. They're
true.
the same exact person, right?
Yeah, but he was the one. He didn't change his name. The other one changed his name.
Yeah,
No, but you got it. I mean, Thomas Riker's still Thomas Riker, right?
fair.
Yeah, but he's
still
Thomas
Will Riker. Yeah.
Riker. Yeah.
Right.
The thing is, William Boimler is the one who stepped away. He stepped away from his life. So
Because it's definitely different.
It's not just that he trusts Brad because he's himself, but he trusts Rutherford and Tendi and his Mariner. It's power of friendship time.
Heck yeah.
Do you think I'm adding a question here, boss?
Are you being questioned?
I'm adding a question.
I like adding questions. Go ahead.
Okay. Do you think that cloned Boimler has been chosen by Section 31 for this thing because it's important that he sends this to his universe.
Like you think that Section 31
Future Man.
somehow knows? Yeah,
Future Man.
Yeah,
Come on.
it's not a bad guess. Ooh, I have Discord open still. I'm bad.
At least it's not on screen like mine.
Because
was.
why the transporter clone of a ensign? I mean, okay, lieutenant, junior grade. Sorry, on the Cerritos. Like, why that guy? With
But
like T'Pol and like Curzon Dax and all that. Like, why that dude?
We don't know how much
You
has
think-
happened to him after he got sent to Section 31, and apparently he was raising in the ranks so fast, right? Just under Riker.
How long has it been?
We
Couple
never
years.
really know the true timeline of Lower
That's
Decks,
true.
do we? Like some people say weeks, sometimes it's like I don't know. I have no idea what the timeline.
It's
of
been
Lower
at
Decks
least a year since Mariner and Jennifer broke up. They said that on the show.
That we know.
I do have a theory, and it's not bunnies. I will never miss that again. Boimler doesn't seem to think much of the assignment he's gotten. It's possible Section 31 doesn't think much of it either. Maybe it's just like,
Well, that was kind of my thought. Yeah, that this is like they don't think anything's going to come of it, so they just sent like
Well,
little
he
William
thinks it's
Boyle
natural.
around, yeah, on like a little Defiant ship because they have nothing better for him to do.
Yeah, I think
Little.
it's natural. They don't think it's like they don't think there's a villain. Like,
Drift
they don't
was
think there's like
salvageable.
something bad going on. Yeah, maybe.
do you know who Boimler kind of reminded me of a little bit? Tim Waters from the episode Valiant.
Huh.
Like at the very beginning of the episode, like if Mariner hadn't come in, this would have gone so much worse.
I don't know. I feel like he's still in control of his like faculties. He's not gone crazy or anything, right? You know, like
There was just so much weariness that
and that's what I'll keep going on my thoughts about this is a great comment from Jedi Cat 71. Grumpy William Boimler reminded me of grumpy Captain Pike in The Cage. He's just done, right? Like Captain Pike at that point is done. Like he just wants to go home. Not that we know that Boims has lost life on his ship, but like Pike had a bad mission. He's weary being in Starfleet anymore. This is William Boimler now too. And I love that the parallels between Boims wanting to grow the beard because his alternate did, but like William Boimler's beard / 5 o'clock shadow is there because he doesn't give a shit anymore. It's a really like, I love little details like that. I really liked that this was his episode and like how deep they kind of went into him just like being done. I don't really know how to, like you said, Eric, I don't know how to follow up on what these guys just said. I just like seeing him again. And I actually think it's really badass that he's like a full 4-pip captain. Like they're just like, you know what? We trust you. We can get this done. They don't give the Defiant like that class of ship to anybody. Well, that's not true. They let cadets fly one around.
I was gonna say like, what the
like
fuck?
MC just mentioned.
just said.
MC just mentioned.
One thing that I find funny, William Boimler being in charge of this mission, where he's meeting versions of, famous people that are just slightly different. So, in his head, he has just always got that road not taken stuck in his head where it's like, what if I had been the Boimler to step forward and I had been, yes, I've gotten everything I wanted. Yes, I'm a captain, but I'm so fucking done with everything and I don't have any of my friends and I'm miserable. So that's I think one of the reasons why he is just so tired of everything related to the multiverse, because it's not that he's thinking about any of his duplicates in any other dimensions. He's thinking of the one in his own dimension.
Yeah.
It is a long road.
Getting from there to here. Let's talk about the crew. And we have to start with the poll played by Jolene. I think it's just Jolene now. That's how she was listed in the credits, which
I've had Dolly Parton stuck in my head for the last
Jolene.
week since I
we're
watched
going to
this.
talk about Dolly Parton at the end of the show. Yeah, T'Pol is back reprising the role, being married to Florida Man for 63 years, which I'm so sorry, T'Pol.
Christ.
Maybe
I
he
wanna
was
s-
different in
Yeah,
her
I was gonna say
dimension.
maybe he's different. Competence.
I don't know. Maybe. You guys could talk about T'Pol. You guys could talk about T'Pol and her interactions throughout the episode too. But I also want to really focus on the end of the episode where she backs up the Dax symbiote's memories from Curzon as he's possibly dies. Not sure.
He dies.
Dies. Giraffe.
Sorry.
T'Pol in this episode, and then at the end, like backing up the memories, just everything T'Pol.
Yeah, okay, first of all, I'm very disappointed that Trip didn't die. I'm sorry. You can send me hate on my DMs. I don't care. That guy was a pain. He was the worst. I want to know what Mike McMahon gave her to come back to Star Trek. Like, what was the pitch? What was the pitch to ask Jolene to come back to Star Trek? I want to know. Because I was, as much as I was always like, they should bring T'Pol, I never thought
Nope.
it would actually happen.
She's like with
because-
Avery Brooks, right? Like they had stepped away. So
Yeah.
it's just like,
Yeah.
and
they're not
she
coming
didn't
back.
have the greatest time on Enterprise. I
No.
mean, when you
No.
read about like how they treated her and all
Yeah.
this, I'd be like, also fuck off. But she's a Trekkie. She was so stoked to be on Star Trek when Enterprise started, and then they fucked her over, and I understand that. I understand that should be done. So I want to know. I think maybe because now that's what I was saying. Like Star Trek is made by Trekkies, by people who really like it and know it, and not.
Well, I was gonna say
Berman?
if Rick Berman was still involved in Trek in any way, I don't think she would have come back.
No.
No.
No. So yeah, I first, for me, it's great that Star Trek has evolved so much that these people who were wronged like can come back to roles that were very important, I suppose, for their career. Like everybody knows her as T'Pol. Like she was also in Stargate, but I don't even remember her name in Stargate.
No, she was a Jaffa rebel though. She worked with Teal'c a lot.
she
She
was
was
just
awesome.
hot.
Yeah, she was hot, but she was also a badass. Yeah,
I don't remember the name of the character,
I
but
don't
whatever.
either.
But
Ishtar.
Ishtar. Nice.
Ishtar?
Yeah.
You remember that or you Googled
I
that?
looked it up.
Okay. I think it's a great choice because, again, she's a character that we've not seen in Star Trek since Enterprise. We've seen a lot of people like crossing over to different shows or being talked about. I'm so glad there was no Spock.
Yes.
I'm so sorry, but like,
Not even a giant Spock?
Not even giant Spock like Boyne's
No.
wanted.
No Spock.
no Spock.
No Spock.
Like, it's so bad that they are like I would have been so stoked for Spock in anything like 10 years ago. And now I'm like, please stop. Keep him away. Put him in a room and lose the key. But
Give him a transporter malfunction.
yeah, something like this. But she's the second best, the second best Vulcan. We had Tuvok already like show up in Picard and
He had a cameo in this. in Lower Decks.
And
No lines, but yeah.
Yeah. So, she is the Vulcan that I wanted to see. So and she's so funny, and she's like an expert in human emotion, like for sure, 63 years with Trip. The line about sodium cracked me up because, she would be all about like whatever everybody's eating. She's eating the same freaking sushi all the time.
Veggie rolls, baby.
The veggie rolls, and I think it was elegant and it was cute. And as much as I'm not really into fan service, I think it was more love letter than really fan service, because you don't need to know T'Pol to watch that episode and find her cool and find her interesting. There's no, you don't need the Spark Notes. You don't need to read Wikipedia for hours to be like, what is she doing and who is she? In my opinion, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong because I know all these people.
No, I would agree with you because Boimler also gives you everything you need to know at the top of the episode about his crew. It's like they give you the 1 minute of exposition and then you just enjoy the episode because it's Lower Decks at the end of the day and they do this shit well.
and even the character in the show, like, are themselves explaining, like, the way they act and the way they react and who they are makes sense in itself without having seen four season of Enterprise, right? Yes,
Four
feels like
seasons, yeah.
16, but it's 4. 4 season of Enterprise. Same for DS9. You can watch Garak and still understand the character in itself in like that episode, even if because they're different from the characters in their own show, which I like. And I want to, again, like, when there are like some fan service, when you need to know the thing so well, Picard, for example, like, you need to have so much knowledge of Star Trek to watch any season of Picard, because characters won't make sense without your back knowledge of this. And you'd be like, wait a minute, why are you doing this? Why are they pissed at each other? Why is he angry? Who is that? Like, even the first season. So I'm glad that it's, somebody on Blue Sky, said, it's fan wank and not fan service. And I was like, that is it. This is what it is.
Yeah. Nice. MC.
The relationship between T'Pol and Curzon, it is, I think, Star Trek for the last, 60 plus years has been trying to recreate the Spock-McCoy dynamic and never quite doing it right. Yet with this episode, they managed to do it in 20 minutes. Yeah, T'Pol and Curzon are Spock and McCoy, and I love it. They volleyed so well off one another. I think actually possibly even better than Spock and McCoy, because it wasn't quite as racist.
No, like, Curzon's a grumpy old white dude, and T'Pol's just a tired, been married to the most Florida man of Florida man for 30 years and is exhausted.
Yeah, I love the two of them together, because it is like this very odd couple thing where Curzon thinks that they're just fighting all of the time, but T'Pol's like, what? You're like my best friend on the ship. But she's still a Vulcan, even though she was married to a human for 63 years. So I love that. And the whole backing up of the Dax symbiont's memories is amazing. One, because this confirms to me that Spock was doing that in Into Darkness with Pike, and there's my Kelvin reference. Because apparently sorry, I just forgot Trills. Trills have Katras, so I think every species has a Katra. It was not something I was expecting. Like, honestly, I was expecting Dax to get injured. Like, as soon as they're like, he's accident prone, I was like, oh, he's going to end up dead by the end of the episode. I thought T'Pol might just take the symbiont into her.
Yeah, I thought that was going to happen too.
Yeah.
But doing it this way is, one, so much easier, and so much more intimate, really. Because, you could take a worm into your belly, but she's making a spot in her mind for the Dax symbiont. Of course, there's a whole bunch of questions as to where that would go from there. But I don't care, because it's beautiful.
Yeah, agreed. Eric?
I love that she came back. We've been talking about her showing up on Strange New Worlds just because of the timeline.
It works.
Different.
Yeah.
And it made more sense in my brain that she would show up there instead of here. But she was perfect here. And Jolene was spot on in her portrayal of T'Pol again. Like, it's been years. It's been over 20 years. No, 20 years, right? Since Enterprise ended.
It ended in 2020. It ended in 04. Yeah.
So It's amazing.
It is 2024.
Yeah. it was awesome to hear her come back, especially since her last episode on Enterprise was so shit. So this is a way better continuation of that character than what we saw at the end of that season. I love the idea of her backing up the Dax symbiote. Let me actually go back. I like that her and Curzon had this amazing relationship because everyone on that ship had a like a bestie or like a partner, except for Boimler. He was the only one that was alone. The Kims all had themselves because the Kim Crew, and obviously the Doctor and they were together. But that relationship was probably my favorite. The T'Pol and Dax one. It like MC said, that was so Bones and Spock. It was amazing. I did wonder about the backupping thing, because where does that Dax Katra go after? Like,
yeah, that was my
new
question.
baby symbiont
yeah. I was wondering, like, how do they
to a Genesis symbiont?
Oh my, like
There's
and then a
there's
clone one
backup
or something.
symbionts.
Yeah, backup ones. Yeah, that was the only thing that made my brain go. But it was such
Or
a
maybe
She puts it
T'Pol
in
is
the pool.
just Dax now, right? Like,
mixing those two.
Oh,
my
she's
God.
adding to
Dax?
the Dax. Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Do you think it's the T'Pol from E Squared? An E Square situation?
the one that
Had a
was-
kid.
Well, where she stays with Trip and
John-
has a
oh,
kid and
yeah.
like so on.
I mean, it makes sense.
It
I was
does.
thinking she was just from a dimension where these are the voyages didn't happen.
All the
There's
good,
that
good
too.
dimensions, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man.
It was just not on the bingo card, and she was perfect in the role, and I love T'Pol. I hope she in the next episode. Like, I hope this crew doesn't just show up in episode 9 and that's it. I hope that we see some of them next episode.
Yeah, someone said it in the chat, and that's what I was going to say too. I really hope that at least T'Pol is in the next episode so she can meet T'Lyn, because I want that. I want that meeting of the Vulcan minds, because I think that would just be really cool. And a cool, just like to bridge it all together.
I think
Listen,
you're all very optimistic.
I think we are very optimistic, but never say never. Ever since she showed up at Star Trek Day and was like there, like willingly and voluntarily, I was like, this is something that can happen. Yes, it makes sense if they write it right and do it right, that she could show up on Strange New Worlds. It's not out of the realm of possibility. I think the same could be said for Scott Bakula and Archer. But it has to be a good story. And so far, it hasn't happened. Never in a million fucking years did I ever imagine that we would see T'Pol in Lower Decks. It just doesn't make sense. But Lower Decks has a great trend of making things that don't make sense and happen. So here we are talking about T'Pol on Lower Decks. Dude, our fucking poll that we do every week is named the Subspace T'Pol. Like, fate just made this shit happen. People are asking in the chat too, real quick. Do you think there's a chance that Jolene will show up on Strange New Worlds? So, like, has this opened the door to more T'Pol?
No, because they usually don't try to not overlap through series. Usually, whatever series, whatever show gets any legacy, they get to keep
They
them.
stay there. Okay.
Yeah.
But
Usually
Lower Decks is over.
Yeah, that's the
Lower
only-
Decks is over, but also I feel like animation has this thing where you don't age. You just look like they could make T'Pol like Enterprise T'Pol. And I don't know that I don't trust Strange New World with legacy characters. It's mean, but it is what it is. Especially
I think that's fair.
Vulcans. Especially Vulcans. And I, as much as I loved Pring in Strange New World, I think they did her great because she has no backup story in TOS. Like, she's kind of a blank canvas. The way they talk about Spock is like, not my favorite. And I feel T'Pol will like add to like this nonsensicality of like Vulcans and humans and like, I don't know.
No, that's
I
a
like
fair
I like
take.
Lower Decks.
Yeah.
I also think that Jolene is a huge Trekkie. We know that. And she had a bad experience on Enterprise. But Lower Decks is, like we've said, written by Trekkies, and they treat T'Pol with such reverence, as they treat all of their appearances from legacy characters. Like, for such a ridiculous show, they are just so respectful of all of the characters that they bring in. And you can really see that in T'Pol. So I think
I don't know.
that
Harry kind of got the shit end of the stick again in this episode.
No, do you know what? I would actually disagree with you.
Harry fucking Kim.
There were a dozen Kims. There was one bad one. All of the other ones.
It only takes one, MC. It only takes one.
Fucked up a full universe. What are you talking?
The one that got promoted too. It's not even the fucking ensigns.
I will actually discuss this further once we get to the part on the Kim crew.
Do you think that's why he never got promoted by Janeway? Because she knows that the promoted Kim is gonna fuck up?
Exactly. Yep. Exactly.
Well, this whole episode is about ambition being evil. No, not being evil, but being not a great thing.
I mean, we'll talk about it when we get there.
Yeah. Let's talk about Curzon Dax, played beautifully and amazingly by none other than Fred Tatasciore. Curzon still kicking it and being the crazy bastard that Jadzia and Ben made him out to be. Who wants to talk about Curzon? Giraffe, it's you.
Listen, I had no idea what was going on with Curzon Dax. I was like, that guy, why is he on this ship? How did they were just like, that guy? He's like old, half dead, trying, like, always hurting himself, like pouring a bat left. Like, what's the reasoning?
I have the reasoning. Trill asked Starfleet, can we get this Curzon guy on your ship? We need him to die so we can pass the symbiont on to a new host, because he's out of fucking control.
Die, and they don't have any
well
to do with
they
the
didn't
symbiont.
quite think that through. Yeah.
So yeah, also that was such a weird flex. Like, you have like this symbiont and you're going from like, and you don't have any contingency, any like plan in case that guy dies. And he says in the opening that has not passed the symbiont to Jadzia yet. Well, now he's not gonna.
Well, here's the thing that I really wish we had more than 25 minutes to be able to explain this, but it seems to me like most of the people on the ship were not assigned there. They just kind of ended up there.
Oh, that's why they have so many Kims, because they keep fighting them around. So
Yeah.
it was just Boimler in one ship, and he's just like collecting people as he goes.
I mean, maybe he had the T'Pol. I could see that happening, and then they just kind of collect all these other people, and they end up in a universe where, I don't know, like a lover of Curzon's like fired a shuttle into like this fissure to get rid of him.
Oh man, I like that too.
Yeah, but that's interesting. That's the thing. Is like, how do they all end up in that ship? Are they all people that passed through the fissure and like ended it there, and they were like, we can send you back.
You're part of the crew now.
Because the fissure closed towards your universe, so now you're part of that crew, and we hope that maybe we'll find where you go. Though Garak and Julian are arguing where they're gonna go back, like they're able to choose, and I'm just very confused about like,
well,
how do they think they're gonna go back home?
Boimler does say that they can scan him to find his dimension, so it's possible that they are able to do that. Just scan them to like.
And the one admiral early in the season, when they tried to send the micro Voyager, they were looking for a way to find it back to its universe as well.
So,
or the micro, whatever that ship was.
Yeah, I don't really know how these people ended up there. I definitely don't understand how Curzon ended up there. I think it's like he's a wild card. It's the wild card character, and they needed somebody to die. Let's be honest.
They did. They weren't going to kill any of the other. No,
exactly. They needed a red shirt. They're not gonna kill somebody that is voiced by a guest star. So too bad, Fred. You're a goner.
Fred's used to it. It's fine.
Yeah, if there's anyone that's had more characters killed, it's Fred.
Exactly. I liked his battle to the death with a bunch of Axolot. That is it? Do you think it's the Axolot mirror universe? Because we see them in like season 1, and they're all nice.
Yeah.
And they're all like cute. So I'm like,
They should have given them
you're-
mustaches.
Yeah, Boems was like, "Oh, I know them. They're fine." And then they attack. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they mentioned Moopsies.
Yep.
I like the character of Curzon. Would have I liked another character? Would have like preferred Jadzia? 1,000%.
I think we all would have preferred Jadzia.
1,000%. But I think it added a little bit of like unexpected and like weird multiverse kind of like little bit different. I think Boimer would have preferred Jadzia also, but
Yeah. But there's not like a lot of Curzon. If anybody wants to talk about Curzon, they can. Absolutely, go ahead.
I adore seeing Curzon, and like Giraffe was just saying, I think that if it had been Jadzia, it would have fallen too much into the fan service, where it's like, here's a character from the shows. Curzon is not a character we know extremely well, but he is a character that his legend looms large, and we've seen little bits of him. I mean, maybe it's just because of the situation where he's in, but there wasn't quite enough of I think the episode's called Facets, when we actually see Rene Aubergenois play Curzon, because he and Odo basically merged together. He spends so much time fighting with T'Pol that you don't really see that joie de vivre that Curzon has. But then, it's a high stress situation. I do love the casual Klingon thrown into everyday conversation, which Curzon's basically a Klingon otaku. You know exactly what I'm talking about, and that's why you're laughing.
It's true, though. It's so true. Oh man. Me?
You.
Oh yeah. I like them. I love that they took this character that like this design that was that one dude that was that silent dude that was dying on a flat that we see in DS9 like once, and they perfectly recreated him in animated form. Like I thought that was great. I mean, I had no preconceptions about what he was gonna be, and Fred nailed the character. Like it was just pure joy to see him do his thing. And he reminded me of like a crazy old grandpa that just wants to eat a salt. I mean, who doesn't want to have the salt with their food?
Sodium is life, man.
I'm sure.
Salt is life. Yeah.
I'm supposed to not eat sodium. Do you know what I'm doing?
Eating the fucking Korean corn dog.
I'm sure.
Eating Korean corn dog. Like I'll die from something.
With salt on the Korean corn dog.
Yeah.
Added.
You don't live
No,
longer. It just
mayonnaise.
feels like it.
Dana writes, Curzon with a batleth. Excuse me. Curzon with a batleth is the reason my friends didn't want me to own a batleth. Yeah, 100% can confirm as one of Dana's friends. Just danger everywhere. Eric disappeared. So, sorry guys. I am trying to get through this show. I am very sick.
I was done.
Oh, you were done. Good. Give me a second here. Julian coughing. Yay. I'm making my editing notes. Man, Curzon is, yeah. I have a strong feeling, and Gene could tell me if I'm wrong, or other people could tell me if I'm wrong later. I feel like
You're
they probably tried to get, I probably am. I'm gonna guess that they probably tried to get, Jed Zay on the show, and they're like, that's not going to happen. We already are paying like these many people, right? Maybe I'm wrong, but it doesn't matter because like it was still Curzon bringing balance to all these other characters that we know and love. So it was like the one that isn't like a super big guest star that is still like really, really cool. So I like seeing it. I love the T'Pol relationship. I love that he's a crazy bastard, and every single thing that we've heard, Ben and Jadzia talk about throughout 7 seasons of DS9 was shown in like a 20-minute Star Trek episode. He's just like insane and has probably made a lot more questionable calls than we've seen in this one. Yeah. So I'm probably wrong about them trying to get Terry Farrell, but like, anyway.
I think they needed a random wild card to shoot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they
And I
can't
think
kill.
Jadzia would.
No, they wouldn't
Jadzia
kill
would not-
Jadzia again.
No, but even like he shoots at the ship and have them crash. Jadzia would never do that.
No.
I also don't think T'Pol and Jadzia would have the same kind of relationship.
They wouldn't.
So you're wrong.
I'm wrong.
I mean, it could have been Human Worf at that point.
It could have been Human Worf.
I would have loved that.
Let's talk about Garrick and Hollow Julian. Shippers everywhere are eating well today. Suck it to all the Trek bros. We're like, oh my god, no, they were just friends.
They were just really good friends.
Giraffe, go ahead, Garrick.
Well, okay, so it's never been my corner, and everybody's shipping everybody anyway. Like I feel like anyway, DS9 is a polycule.
It is, yeah.
It is.
Talked about this.
Everybody is fucking everybody. So I was happy because I knew so many people would be happy. And I'm the kind of person, if other people are happy, even if it's not my jam, I'm happy for them. So I thought it was fun. I was really happy to see Garrick because I think it's such an excellent character. It's such a versatile character. You can have him do anything on the ship and nobody would be surprised. Like, he's the cook for sure. He's a doctor. Why not? Like, you'd be just, for sure he's here. Andrew Robinson also, I was like, it was so nice to hear his voice. And like, I think it may not be as, exciting for people that are not into DS9, but I think that everybody's into DS9. So everybody was happy about this.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, right. And Julian being whiny and bitchy because he's a hologram was a whole new level I was here for, because we're watching DS9 and he's so whiny. He complains so much about random shit. And I like that they managed to make it into the character without being, how can I say that? Sometimes DS9 is a bit dated on Julian. And you're like, ooh, he's harassing women. Like,
oh yeah, 100%.
It's not really cool. And I like the fact that they totally removed that from the character by making him a hologram and making him gay. And I thought it was great because, gay or bi, like it adds to the character without being a cancellation of what Julian was in DS9. Does that make sense?
It does. And I would just go off of, again, what you said. I like you said about DS9 being like a polycule. Like, I think it's everybody on that station is poly. Like, that they just, fuck anything that walks and talks. Dude, what did Jadzia have a date with? The brain dudes from?
Oh yeah, was it Galamite?
The Galamites, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that it's more that everybody is pansexual in the future. You don't like.
That's what I meant. I didn't mean poly. Yeah. I meant pan.
Okay,
That's what,
I was like,
yes. Not just the only
not poly. No, I meant pan. Sorry, my brain is a fog. I meant pan.
Poly and pan.
Poly and pan. Yeah.
Yeah, sure, but no, but what I meant is like that's a totally different character while totally being Julian.
Yeah.
And that is elegant. That is great. And also that's where I'm thinking like everybody thinks it's great fan service, but it's not really fan service. It's expanding a character that everybody loves by recreating a new character with the same vibe and also the same voice actor, which I find it great.
It's a continuation of a relationship that fans wanted from the minute that show came out, and we're watching and we're like, oh, these two are totally in love. And that Andy Robinson and Alexander Siddig have both said we're totally in love.
Oh,
like,
they said they were playing it this way.
Yeah. Like it's not even a question. So like to do this just made perfect sense. It wasn't fan service. It was where the story was going, were you good? Boldly going. MC.
Yeah, it was where it was meant to go. I mean, like the whole reason why Garrick hooks up with Zial in season 5, season 6, wherever it
4, 5, 6,
is because the studio would rather have Garrick with a teenage girl than with a grown-ass man. Because the 90s were afraid of gay people. But yeah, as you said, the actors played it as if they were gay. The writers, I think they say it outright in the DS9 documentary that they should have done it.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's in what is it? A Stitch in Time. There's a lot of hints to Garrick being into Bashir. This is the natural progression of these characters, so it's not fan service. It's really just service to the story, and I love it. I know that the production lead on Lower Decks is just so long, but considering my gushing about what the Kardashians looked like last week and how we should have Garrick appear to it, I feel like I manifested this.
You totally did. You totally did.
And I'm also pretty sure that since Jean was in the chat last week, that she had to just sit on her hands just to not be like, oh, wait until you see next week's episode.
The amount of times we've talked, and I'm sure she's had to not be like, I can't do it. I can't comment.
Jean last week, I think, knew what time the screeners were coming out and messaged me like a minute like after it dropped. I was like, stop it. You know, it just dropped. And like, I don't have the time to watch it right now. Like, stop it.
But yeah, I am a huge fan of Garrick and Bashir together. As anybody who saw the picture that I posted up on Blue Sky and Instagram today, I think they're great together. They have such an easy chemistry with one another, and I don't feel like their chemistry is that different having them be this married couple than they are in regular Deep Space Nine. But also the attention to detail that the Lower Decks writers have, that putting Julian in as a EMH, because in Deep Space Nine, he was supposed to be the model for the new version.
Yeah.
And the way they have Garrick and Bashir fight with one another over what dimension they're going to settle in, and finding out that Garrick doesn't care. It's just, he thinks it's fun. That's because in Deep Space Nine, it's revealed that's how Cardassians flirt.
Yep.
Yeah. Cardassian woman doesn't understand why O'Brien isn't into her, because they were fighting all of the time. And he's like, whoa, I didn't like you. That's why I was fighting. So I love it. This is something that you only get from people who really respect this entire franchise, but it's something that doesn't need to be explained. Like, if you don't notice it, it doesn't affect the story at all. You can still enjoy what's there, but if you know it, it's like your mind is blown, which is how fan service should be done.
Yeah.
Eric the Red in the chat wrote that famous internet meme. He goes, "My dear doctor, we're in a relationship in every universe, even the animated ones, especially the animated ones."
I love it.
Love it. Eric.
I mean, everything that everyone has said. I just, especially the fact that this crew has not been, it seems like they haven't been together for super long, right? But this couple felt like such an old couple
They totally did.
together. So these two characters from every dimension just always click together, and I love that. It's like sort of seeing Boimler and Mariner together, right? They fit together as friends, like, just perfectly. So seeing Garrick and Julian together and just being perfectly together is perfect. I was gonna go off what MC said about the documentary, saying that they wanted to make them a relationship, but yeah, they were. I remember them saying that the higher ups canned that idea because of 90s, right? Like,
Paramount pretty much tried to cancel every gay idea that they had on the show. Like Dana was just talking about how Jadzia kissed a girl in that episode. I'm like, well, that's different because unfortunately that's sexy to men and that's sold. And even then Paramount tried to remove that scene from the episode.
And
also,
they got letters. Like they stayed together. Yeah. They only was in one episode. So,
and
Sweeps.
You know, they wanted to make Ryza a gay planet. I mean, Gene Roddenberry wanted Ryza to be super gay. And that's why it cracked me up that they were like arguing about like which Ryza has the better wine. And I was like, I see what you're doing. And I think it's Berman was like, nah.
Of course it was Berman.
Berman.
I think it was the episode The Offspring. Whoopi Goldberg actually had to fight to change the line when the final line was like when two people are in love. Originally, the line was when a man and woman are in love, and Whoopi Goldberg was like, no.
Good for her.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, you know, like, but Arrested Development, good for her.
Eric, were you good?
I think I'm done. Like, the EMH thing was the thing that made me smile the most as a DS9 fan, because that little tidbit about Julian supposedly being the model was just such a good little detail for anyone to even notice. But like, as DS9 is my favorite series, you know, you're sitting there like, oh my God, they pulled from that like, oh.
And then it comes in handy.
Exactly. And it does come in handy. And I love the way that Garrick like flicks him the mobile emitter too. Oh, it was so good.
That was great animation.
So good.
You know, when you get a guest star on a show and it doesn't work, or on an animated show and they just don't quite sound the same, man, this was special, right? These are two characters that played each other off. You know, wow, that was a way of
I'm sure they did.
That played each other off so well for 7 seasons of DS9 that when I heard Julian speak, I'm like, holy shit, like, yeah, I'm on a Defiant class right now, but it's like being back on DS9 again. Hearing Andy Robinson speak again when he says, you know, yes, I am a doctor, but I'm not just a doctor. You know, in any universe, Garrick is not just a doctor. He's always a spy too, or a tailor, or, you know, this was beautiful. This was the best part of the episode for me. Like, my heart is on DS9, and these two characters are just special. And I love, you know, not because his name is Julian. I've just not early Bashir, but I've loved later Bashir.
I just realized something.
Yes.
Tinker Tailor, Dr. Spy.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. The only thing that this was missing that would have been, I think, like the best cameo to come out of this is if by the way, like, congrats for like getting the kiss in there, by the way, because that's like a big deal. Paramount still could have cut it in 2024. Trust me, they didn't. That's big. But would have been just like the icing on the cake would have, like, you know, like how Rutherford and Livick have like Rutherford, Livick. When they kiss, it would have been great to see O'Brien just like lurk out of a corner and be like, Garrick.
He should have been their engineer.
He should have been the engineer.
Maybe he is. What do you know?
Been like the jealous third wheel of the Garrick, you know, Garrick, Julian, O'Brien love triangle. Anyway, I rest my case. I loved this. Let's talk about Kim Crew. Enough said. Let's also talk about it's Harry once again who makes a bad decision, acts a little dumb, and fucks everything up for everyone. Hence why he never gets promoted, except the one, Giraffe.
Well, so I knew it from the
trailer.
The trailer, right? And I like the fact that it was not really instrumental to the story to have so many Kims. Like, there's so many of them. And they're taking care of their Kims, and they're solid. They're gonna be fine, you know? And they're saving them from the ship. And I don't know, it was so funny to see also the Delta Flight, the race uniform that they have from Voyager. I think that was the best character to have in multiples. Any other character would have been as funny as having these many Kims and all being the perpetual ensign. I think it was just, again, the perfect joke. And having the evil one to be the one promoted
Yeah.
sent me into so many like questions. I was like, is that why? Is that why he can't be promoted? Because if we promote him, he's gonna turn in a villain, and somehow the universe knows that. I like that they made it into something because, like, let's be honest, Harry Kim was never promoted in Voyager for bad reasons.
Berman.
Mhm.
Berman. It's a Berman show today.
It is a Berman. Of course,
It's
a Berman
always
show.
a Berman show.
Lower
just-
Decks just erased everything that Berman tried to not make happen.
Yeah, it's the anti-Berman. It
is the anti-Berman episode.
where Berman doesn't exist. And I think it was exceptionally funny that all the one Pim Kim were so nice and were so into it. Well, the equivalent of like the Labrador ensign, you know, they're happy to be here. They love Starfleet. Why would you be here? Like,
They didn't care that they were ensigns. They were just happy to be part of the crew. Like that was
Yeah.
amazing.
and they don't even care to be so many of themselves.
Mhm.
Like, imagine any other character having like 15 versions of themselves working together. They would lose their mind, right? They all want to be unique. But no, Kims, they hang together. They all live in the same quarter. They just play clarinet.
They play clarinet together. Yeah.
They created a band. And I think it's they all like share the same neuron, you know? They're just like they're just happy to be here and they're doing a good job. And I feel that it's such a good mirror to Voyager where Kim eats so much shit throughout the seasons of Voyager. And to have again, like it's a little bit like Tibol, like to have their like the last episode in Star Trek, because let's be honest, I don't think we're gonna see these characters in any other show.
Mm.
I'm gonna hold my breath.
Oh, you think they're gonna be in the Academy?
I mean, listen, the Doctor showed up. He could show them like holograms of the past.
EMH.
Never say after this episode. I'm saying never say never.
We never want to see an Enterprise hologram ever again.
Damn MC.
Well, I love the energy that this episode gives to Kim, which is a character that is complicated in Voyager because he also complains a lot, but also eats shit all the time, and he's also the sidekick with Paris. Like, I feel like Kim is the Eternal Ensign, but he's also the Eternal sidekick in Voyager until he's not, and then
He's also
eating
committed
shit.
mutiny more than a few times.
Yeah, but he's not the original Kim. That's not even his original universe. What does he care? Like, I will never let that die.
You will no, you won't. Never.
I will remind this. Naomi Waldman and Kim are not the original one in Voyager. So I like that. Also, the same thing with Julian is that it's such a deep cut. Like, you don't need to know that he's already an alternate in Voyager. But I feel it adds so much to the lore of the character that is he the anchor being? Do you think Kim is the anchor being? That's why he's like everywhere all the time.
Yes.
And
Well, I mean, he does have the line, there's more than 2 universes. I felt like that was a direct reference to that.
1000%. and he's the anchor being in the idea that, you know, he needs to be a happy-go-lucky ensign because that's what makes him like make everybody around him happy.
Yeah.
It's sad, but that is like a little bit of a parallel of our lower deckers. Weren't they happier when they were ensigns? Was life not easier? But are we talking about Evil Kim or is that
Yeah.
Evil Kim? Fucking love that guy. So stupid. He's like stupid with responsibility. Very bad combo. He almost like kills everybody. He's so into like his egomaniacal like situation of stealing the ship. Help fucking Kim. His death had me rolling. When the ship got just got no explosion, no nothing, just
Yep.
fantastic. And yeah, here's your villain. It's a 2-pip Kim. Fantastic.
2-pip Kim. They really should have named this episode A Fistful of Harrys.
A fistful of pips.
Fistful of Pips. Oh man.
Yeah, that was hilarious. I think that really made it's like the cherry on the sundae. Like it was such a great idea.
Nice. MC.
So as I said, when we were talking about William Boimler, there is this whole idea of, it's lonely at the top. Maybe it's not so good to, not that ambition is evil, but maybe ambition's not what it's cracked up to be. And I think we really see that when it comes to Harry Kim, because I don't think that Harry didn't get promoted because Janeway saw that there was something wrong with him. I think that Lieutenant Kim got promoted because there's something wrong with him. I think that he was ambitious. I think he might have gotten ranked up twice because he threw somebody under a bus. Possibly Paris.
I don't know. This Harry's a little bit dumb, but he's not like throw you under the bus. I don't know.
I mean, he flips pretty damn quickly.
I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe.
he just like the entire episode, like from moment one, he is annoyed by the fact that all of the other Harrys are still ensigns. And why the fuck does he care? He's still a lieutenant just because all of the other ones are happy where they are. They're fine.
Do you think he's lying? Do you think he stole a
Pip?
peep? Do you think it's a corn kernel?
I mean, I was not thinking that. I was just thinking that he's putting his nose in other people's business. It's like he's got so much ego being a full lieutenant that he can't stand the idea of somebody with the name Harry Kim still being an ensign in any universe.
It was about him, not about them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And while they're in Voyager, there's a couple of jokes about Harry not being promoted. I never felt that was a huge deal to Harry. What was the big deal to Harry was getting back to the Alpha Quadrant. That was his whole thing. Like, I think more than anybody, Janeway being like, I'm responsible to get everybody home. But like on a personal level, like it was always Harry wants to get home. That was like the most important thing for him. And I think we saw a little bit of that in the Kim crew, the ones who are just happy to be part of the team, that they're just happy doing the mission. They don't need that ambition to move upwards in rank because they're doing what they love. And they're all getting along well with each other. They're playing cards, they're playing clarinet, they're making bets because half of them stayed in the Delta Quadrant and half of them got home. And so it's like, which one are you? I love it. I love how Garrett Wong played the different Kims. Like the Kim crew are all sound so happy, but then Lieutenant Kim sounded just angry, and that I'm Harry fucking Kim was so good. And the animation on him, seeing him come unhinged, like with the hair falling in front of his face and the maniacal eyes, it was wonderful. I thought it was the perfect thing to have happen because you obviously needed something to carry this plot forward to the finale. And I think especially having the Eternal Ensign be the one to do this after they rank up on a show called Lower Decks. Absolutely. This setting up our main characters to save the universe having it be a jumped up Harry Kim doing it, just chef's kiss, perfect.
Nice. Eric?
It sort of blew my mind when you were like, this show is Lower Decks and we have the eternal Lower Decker on this. Like that, yes, that's amazing. I'm going to talk about the Kim crew because so much of Harry Kim on Voyager remind me of Rutherford because they just love whenever they do the mission, whenever they do the science. So seeing them be so happy just to be on this crew, just to be doing something totally cool and totally new, like that's totally Harry Kim. Like, of course he wants to build the Delta Flyer with Paris, right? He wants to do something new. He wants to try something that no one else has done before. Traveling dimensions with a bunch of other Kims, that would make him happy. And again, he gets a clarinet band. Like that's just they need a Riker for a trombone, but that's for next week's episode.
Didn't Harry play another instrument?
Did he? I only remember
thought it was just the clarinet.
I seem to recall in one episode they showed him playing another episode, but I might be wrong.
I mean, they had enough time to learn something.
True.
Right. No, but we'll figure that out. I'm gonna say something controversial about Lieutenant Kim. I don't think he was that evil. Like when he came there, he was surprised to see a lot of other Kims, and then I feel like the fact that everyone else was an ensign, he felt like they were sort of being taken advantage of in their universes. That's what I feel like he may have felt. Like I think it built from there, and then maybe his ambition took over, but I don't think it came from something evil inside of him. Sure, he realized that they were just fine with it, like right at the end, but I don't think it came from somewhere evil at the beginning, right? Because, what would you do if you saw yourself in every other universe being like, yeah, no one cares about us. We're still ensigns. Like that's gotta sting. I
don't think that they didn't care about them. I mean, the only person who didn't care was Boimler, and Boimler didn't care about anybody at that point.
Yeah, I don't think they didn't care about him. I think he thinks that no one cared about them.
That's true.
That's there is something weird when, like, even when I'm at the mall with my kids, and then sometimes people will, like, in stores will follow you, and then I see my kids with my wife, and they are never followed. There's something that stings about that, right? And seeing yourself being compared to someone else, like it, I can see it going badly. I wouldn't go crazy like that. I'm just saying.
You mean you wouldn't try to wipe out the multiverse?
I mean, if it was the MCU one, maybe just because it's terrible. It's true. This had better dimension jumping than anything they've done in the MCU.
Better explanation, too.
Exactly.
I like it.
The bubble bath of bubbles of universes. Perfect. Yeah, I do love that Garrett Wang was just perfect. I wonder if he was the one who was like, I need the Delta Flyer uniform on one of them. Just not to promote anything, but just because.
Oh, it's nice to just like create some difference between the Kims. By the way, I looked it up. Harry also played the saxophone.
Oh, damn.
Oh shit! You're right. Okay, there it is.
Same mouthpiece. Yeah. It makes sense. But his end was perfect, and I hope that next week we see Captain Harry Kim in the Prime universe.
We do know he becomes a captain
right
later down the line,
so or at least a higher up
officer.
There.
Yeah,
I would. That'd be amazing next episode.
Yeah, nice. Let's talk about Mare Bear, Big Mare, engineering Mare Bear, who is still awesome. Not as big of a badass as her Prime Universe counterpart, right? Likes to take things a little bit more carefully, but still a badass in her own way. Let's talk about engineering Mariner Giraffe.
I love that the first thing she does is like nerding out because T-Pole is here.
I think that's the Pole.
Make that T-Pole.
It was like her and Uhura.
1000%.
Did
not know young Spock would be so hot.
Yes.
it was like so quintessentially
Quintessential.
Quintessential. We got you.
Essentially, Mariner, we found the unhingedness of trying to, go for adventure. So I think she's just a Mariner that had maybe a more stable childhood or like a better, like more stable time in Starfleet, less PTSD, less
Maybe Cedo
trauma.
didn't die.
Yeah, maybe
Ooh.
Zero didn't die in her universe. Like, there's clearly like, because that's so core Mariner inside. We found the adventure side, which we know for Mariner is kind of like a coping mechanism. So it was good to see Mariner in a different light. And by the way, I sent that to Julian. They totally doctored the scene in the trailer.
They doctored a lot in the trailer.
In the trailer, she has a red uniform. And I went back and watched the trailer. He's like, I should have a
100%
in the trailer.
What
And Boimler didn't have the stubble or the beard in scenes where he does already.
Yeah.
What did they show?
totally-
Out of curiosity.
So
In the trailer.
they showed when the axolotls like comes out, like the
Okay.
Snorpion, I don't remember the name, comes out of the water and it's like, and they're like, and she's like, I know this guy, they're cool. And she's wearing a red uniform.
Mm.
Yeah.
And so I like that she's an engineer. Because that's totally different than what Mariner does in the Prime universe. That she's happy to see Boimler, that there's this like deep connection to people that she has. And she's also insanely smart. And we don't see Mariner being nerdy smart so often in Lower Decks. She has more of a people smart, like a relationship, like an EQ, right? But we know she's brilliant, and I love to see her like solve some engineering stuff. It was an interesting difference, an interesting like side thing of Mariner when she goes like, I've never been to the brig. No, I've never been in prison. When like she literally spent another, like her duplicate, like our alternate spends a literal episode in prison all the time.
A year.
A year in prison, just prison fam. But that's interesting. It's a good reflection of how like a few things like change people so drastically. I don't remember what I wanted to say about Mariner. I wanted to say something and now it's gone. But what else does she do? She solved the thing. She's happy. I don't know. I'm here for happy Mariner.
Me too. Yeah. MC.
She's happy, but I'm going to bring up the tapestry of it all. This Mariner is still an ensign. Now, I was first wondering, it's like, why is Mariner still an ensign? Like, I would think that she would actually be like even higher, because our Mariner was promoted several times and then demoted because of her insubordinate attitude. This Mariner obviously doesn't have that insubordinate attitude. She's very, she's very reserved. But then I kind of realized it's like, this Mariner is like the blue-shirted Picard from Tapestry, who, didn't get his
not a lot of risks.
Not a lot of risks. So that Mariner never got promoted. She's been probably an ensign longer than Harry Kim is.
Or maybe she's younger, don't you think? She's giving a bit younger.
She is giving a bit younger, and that's the thing. Like we can't really like place like what time these guys are from, because they're all from different times and timelines. So
yeah, which I actually kind of like that. Not all dimensions run on the same time, so that you can bring anybody in, and it's nice. But yeah, she could be younger, but then she's also, Boimler's around, so I don't know how it works. But I mean, also like in the Kelvinverse, like what's his Chekhov is like way older than he should be. He should have been 14 in the first movie. So like ages in alternate universes are just wacky that way. And I talked a lot about Mariner when I was talking about Boimler, that I really think that Boimler needed to have Mariner come in for this to actually work, because I'm pretty sure that William Boimler, before Mariner showed up, didn't talk to anybody really, mostly just talked to his captain's log. And which explains why he was so tired and just done with everything, because the only company he had was himself, and he does not like himself. So when Mariner comes in and he's finally able to talk to his best friend, and it's only through talking to his best friend that they get a breakthrough on actually finding who we'll find out later is Lily Sloan. So I love that it was Mariner who came into it. I like seeing Mariner being different. Part of me wishes that we could have gotten Rutherford and Tendi as well, but then I think it would have glutted up the episode too much. And Boimler and Mariner have always had a very special relationship with one another. So seeing them together, especially as, we're getting towards the end and we haven't really had an episode with them together this season, it's nice to see it.
Yeah. Nice. Eric?
Agreed. I love the relationship between Mariner and Boimler. I've always pictured them as sort of this yin and yang. Like they always balance each other out. And in the Prime universe, Mariner's more of the outgoing one, and then Boimler's more introverted, or at least less crazy. And in this one, we get the Mariner that's more more astute or more studious, and then Boimler's supposed to be the more, at least this Boimler's supposed to be the more adventurous one. So I like that they always balance each other out, and it really, other than what these two have said before me, the only thing that makes me wonder is, in Mariner's universe, what's Rutherford? Is he going to be like a crazy command person? Like I want to.
He's in security.
Oh, Jim was asking if if Mariner's the timid engineer, does that mean Rutherford has the role of like our Mariner? Is he like crazy? Yeah.
Jim. Yeah. Totally.
Yeah. I love seeing, like, anytime I see Mariner in yellow, she looks good in yellow. So that was cool. You guys hit it on the head. It was cool to see the alternates and these, like, this Boimler and this Mariner play off each other. I want to talk about who's behind all this. It's only Lily Sloan, reprised by Alfre fucking Woodard. Talk about how many times have we said bingo cards on this episode tonight? Too many. I'd like just pull Alfre Woodard out of your hat. Like, she's a fucking Oscar winner, like, come on. Yeah. So in her universe, instead of creating warp drive with Zephram Cochrane, creates a quantum tunneling drive. And they're just like trying to explore. I want to touch on something that happened like way at the beginning of the chat. I forgot who said it. So if it's you, claim credit. A lot of people think that like Lily helped like form Starfleet and the Federation with Zephram. I think this episode kind of confirms that. I think that's actually always been like I think like Enterprise maybe established that Lily like created Starfleet and the Federation with Zephram.
I feel like that's true. Yeah.
I think that is true. So yeah. Thoughts just on all of this, on Lily being in an episode alone. Like, this is the one I can't wrap my head around. It's amazing. Giraffe.
Sorry.
Lily.
Yeah, I know, but like, okay.
Lily.
I felt you went like way off.
No, just Lily being the one who's literally
like,
behind.
Wait, there's a question in there?
Yeah, no, Lily literally being the one who's like behind the rifts, and it's not a bad thing. It's like, it's exploration.
I think that it was a bit weird. I was super happy to see her. Super happy. Because definitely not somebody I was expected ever to show up in a Star Trek series. But also I didn't really understand her. I mean, I understood her motivation, but I kind of don't get it. Why would you want to explore multiverse and not your galaxy? I'm Boimler on this. I'm like way more interested in like the people in my own universe that are like under the same role as me and see whatever can happen around me than like jump from bubble to bubble creating all this. But it's also like the question of science without conscience, because they do this thing and they didn't even like thought that it could create a problem.
And it's the Vulcans again who are like, by the way, we told you this was going to be a problem and you didn't listen.
And I'm a bit disappointed on Lily on this one to be just like, but I'm curious and I wanted to know. Yeah, well, we're curious about a lot of things, but that's not like opening up animals alive because you want to see how they function is not cool. And so I like that the plot was revolving under this, but the nerdy ethical science thing in me wanted it to be more discussed and more explored of like what the hell is going on, how were they like sanctioned to do something like that. And on itself it's very Enterprise. She's wearing an Enterprise uniform, right? And it's very Enterprise-y, it's very human at that time, like to just be like, oh, we're gonna see and we're gonna go and like we'll fix it maybe after, which I didn't like.
It is very Enterprise. It is, like you said.
That's not something we do now.
No.
Why are they doing it in Enterprise? You know what I mean? Like, we know that we should have rules to contact people or like to just go or anything without destroying them. Like, for example, archaeology is a science where you destroy a lot because you don't have a choice. If you want to go lower, you need to destroy, right? But we kind of try to take as much scientific data as we can before destroying anything. Is it perfect now? Is it better now than in the future? No, it will be better in the future for sure. But I don't know. I was super happy to see her, but like the whole why kind of was like, I was happy it was not a villain. I was happy it was not like, but it's a little bit Discovery in like season 4 of Discovery of like, oh, we didn't know we were destroying people. We didn't know we were creating any problem. Which like, no, you could have known. Like if you
they
had
did
like
know.
done, like,
They did know. Like I said, like the Vulcan said it. They're like, this is probably what's happening, and they ignored it.
They said that they should have that they hadn't factored it, that they had considered factoring it in, and they hadn't.
I mean, how many times did Archer not pay attention to the Vulcans?
Never, literally never. He just ignored everything they said. So that it tracks.
I was kind of disappointed in this. Like,
yeah,
I thought it was interesting, and I thought it was like a different plot than just having a villain trying to like rip things apart or like some weird motivation. But they're just like, we're curious and we didn't want really to do our homework. It's kind of very Enterprise, but also kind of super lame. And I'm kind of disappointed it's Lily doing this.
Yeah, fair.
I would have liked that Archer would be like, yeah, he's an idiot. Fuck him. Or Trip, you know. But Lily, now I'm like, no, why wouldn't you want to do your homework, girl? Why?
Well, the good news is it's not Prime Lily.
Yeah, but still, it's I have her
Right.
figure in just here looking at me right here. I like the girl.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I think it's interesting because it's not, you know, like cookie cutter kind of storyline, and it's very Enterprise. But also, I wanted it to be more discussed because I'm a nerd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair. MC.
I disagree with Draft, which I'm saying it like that because it so rarely happens. Everything with Lily is doing makes complete sense to me, both from a real universe perspective and a Star Trek perspective. In our real world, every type of travel we do in our world, except for walking on our 2 feet, is destroying our world.
I mean, walking also can destroy.
That's true. And from a Star Trek point of view, there's an episode of TNG where they talk about how like warping
Going past warp 5,
is destroying the universe. If you think of Discovery, they were torturing a tardigrade for a couple episodes until they're like, oh shit, like this is actually like torturing this being. I better genetically manipulate myself.
Well, and also doing harm to the mycelial network.
Yeah.
Also doing harm to the mycelial network, which I never thought they covered enough in that show.
Yeah, but that was Lorca. The guy was evil. Like, we're talking Lily here. That's my problem.
I mean, they
My
still
problem is not that they're fucking up. It's that taking a great character was like a perfect character, a nice character, and to like make her fuck up. I'm not okay with this. Again,
Well, I mean,
Archer
I'm just
defined with
saying,
the
like,
story.
I mean, like on Discovery, it wasn't just Lorca. Like they kept using the mycelial drive, the spore drive, using the mycelial network for years,
And was kind of a dick. Season 1.
Who?
Stamets.
Oh, Stamets. Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
But they could also just not used it, right? Their captain could have just been like, no.
Well,
we
like
can
Pike,
also
Pike
not use
says
our
we're
car,
not.
but
Yeah.
like we are.
Yeah.
But I'm not Lily. I'm a fuck up.
And I mean, even like our version of Lily, like the Phoenix was made out of a nuke.
Yeah, but that's
that was that from.
That's it's ingenuity and kind of genius, like taking something that was evil and turning it into something amazing. Like
I don't think that's what they were thinking.
What do you mean?
That I think they used it because it was powerful enough.
Isn't that what Zephram also says? Like it wasn't to have a message just so that he can get money. Right?
Well, right. But history hasn't showed, right? That
he's
like,
trapped himself. He's trapped his ass to a nuke.
Yeah.
I'm like, I respect that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just and I
blow yourself up there if you want, not here.
And I mean, like, just science is filled with people who have done something and only to realize later that there were consequences that they hadn't taken into account. Otherwise, Mary Curie wouldn't have died of like all of the cancer.
Mm.
Yeah, but no Vulcan told Mercury, yo, it's gonna kill you. When she realized it was killing her, she stopped.
The Vulcan in this, it sounded like that was the first, like they hadn't really discussed it before.
I don't know. I got pretty clear that it was something that was definitely discussed. I don't know.
It seems like it was discussed, but it wasn't a big enough concern. Like I feel like that what MC's saying.
Yeah, Lily did not know that it was tearing, like that it was, leaving permanent holes. Like it was like something. It's like we haven't. It was what we haven't factored in the conservation of energy. Like that's all the Vulcan said. That's not the Vulcan saying it's like, by the way, I think we're destroying the multiverse. Maybe.
But they weren't destroying the multiverse. It wasn't like what they were doing wasn't actually. It was a big deal in the sense that there was other rifts opening and shit was coming through, but nothing was getting destroyed until Harry went and harried.
Well, no, I actually think like the whole point of this is that them traveling was weakening the walls between the multiverse. Like that's kind of
like Spider-Man: No Way Home. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I'm really sad that they didn't, considering they had the whole bubble bath analogy, that they didn't say these bubbles are going to start popping, because that seemed to just be sitting there for me.
Merging.
Didn't say it.
Bubbles merging.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I have what Lily was doing. I don't have any problem with that, and her choosing to explore the multiverse rather than the galaxy. It's just another way to explore things. Like you think that there are some people who like to dive to the bottom of the ocean, and then there's some people who want to go to the stars. This is just another thing to explore. And there's an infinite number of parallel realities in the Star Trek. I have no idea about real life. I've never, looked into that sort of thing. But if I had the ability to travel to other dimensions, you damn well better believe that I would try to do it. It's because the road not traveled, and yes, I keep on saying like things like the road not traveled so that I can keep on putting faith of the heart in your heads. It shows you so much about humanity, and some people are more interested in finding out about humanity than they are about going out into the wide universe. It's almost like being, an anthropologist, but you're an anthropologist for people who are basically you.
I get scared of doing this, and I get scared of doing this, like exploring the multiverse and finding a multiverse or an Earth that like Hitler won the war, and then like Hitler finding that power and then using this power to take over the multiverse. I think exploring the universe is equally as terrifying, and like there's also like there could be aliens that could take over the Earth, but I think like, dare I say, less risk. Like exploring space than like alternate Earths where we know like alternate universes where like bad shit has happened on this planet and only took like a couple of things to like make things go another way. I don't know.
I mean,
you
I
just
like the
have
idea
to
of
make
exploring space better.
You just have to make sure that the Cro-Mags don't get sliding technology.
yes. Oh my God. Yes. I agree with MC on this. Like, I love the idea that people want to see what other humans have done, like in their own time or in alternate versions of them. It like last week I said I wanted a quantum leap Star Trek. This is sort of like that, like them just sort of seeing what different roads have been taking. Oh my God, now I'm saying roads too, MC. God. And
I want to know what the hell is going on.
I find that fascinating. The amount of times I've thought about, I wonder what I would have done differently and how my life would have changed because of that. And not too many times, I would just get crazy, but it's a fascinating thing to think about and explore. And I love Lily Sloan. I feel like this crew though is like the really early crew, so maybe they don't know that they are causing these things. Maybe this is in their science wheelhouse, although the Vulcans did sort of mention it. So it sort of made sense to me. But yeah, I would love to see the event, like them actually exploring these multiverses. Like I think that's really interesting. I would love to see and well, I guess not a non-mirror, not just a mirror universe. Like we've seen so many. We've seen the Kelvinverse, we've seen the Mirrorverse, and then our Prime. Like I would love to see what else is out there for Star Trek.
Yeah, I have to say, I'm so glad that they did nothing Mirrorverse in this.
Yeah, same, exactly. I don't know. I don't think it's scarier though, Julian. I don't know if finding alternate dimensions is scarier. Like the universe is vast. Like we don't know what's out there, and I don't know. I watched the 3-body.
V'ger, we must merge with V'ger.
The 3-body problem just makes me scared about aliens coming this way too. So I know Giraffe liked that show.
I didn't.
I know. I was just joking. The sarcasm was there.
I'm tired, okay?
Me too. I don't know. This hasn't changed my opinion on Lily like one way or the other, but yeah, I don't know. I just feel like that Vulcan had a point. The Vulcan had a point, and it totally reminded me of Enterprise and Archer and the Admiralty always just being, fuck you, we're not going to listen to you. And some bad shit happened on board Enterprise under Archer's command. So I'll leave it at that.
I mean, did they call it? Sorry.
I was going to say, can I pretend that big, tall Vulcan guy behind Lily was Solkar?
Oh my God.
You could believe and choose to believe whatever you want.
Whereas I'll believe that the Beagle was called that because of Archer's Beagle.
Yeah. I mean, it's got to be, right? Some very quick questions to end the show. So, like, is the plan basically like there's going to be no other realities if like Boimler saves the universe, or is he saving all the realities?
All of them.
I was confused.
So he sent this bomb to one's place so that all of them wouldn't die, right?
Okay.
Basically.
All right.
Just the lower deckers are fucked.
The lower deckers are fucked. Okay. That's what
Gonna fuck up and it's gonna all die, and then it's the end of lower decks.
I also yeah.
And it'll turn out that Lower Decks was in a parallel reality the whole time.
God, no.
I also have a problem with it being episode 9 of the season, and we're just finding out that Rutherford has like lasers shooting out of his fucking implant.
But it's not supposed to.
No, like, but why are we learning about this in episode 9?
Because it'll be
Like-
important next episode.
Oh
Or it
man.
won't be, and it was just there to be like, we don't have any more boilers.
Oh, it's so weird. Anything else I missed about this episode? I don't think so. We talked about it. For 2 hours.
Axolotls were cute.
They were cute. They're no Moopsie, but they're still cute. Final thoughts. We will go in reverse order. Eric.
I love this episode. It's probably one of my favorite Lower Decks episodes, if not one of my favorite Star Trek episodes. It was a delight. They did cameos right, and they did multiverse better than the MCU.
Goddamn. MC.
I think I've watched this episode 5 times since last Friday. I adore this episode. I'm not tired of it yet. I don't think I'll ever get tired of it. Like I said, that these cameos, I mean, they're not even cameos. These guest appearances are not there just for the sake of, look, we got a guest star. Every character works well in what part they're in. And if we're dealing with the multiverse next episode and they don't have Ransom make some sort of Sliders reference, I'm going to be very sad.
my God. Yes, please. Yes.
Sliders. It was such a good show.
was
That
so
was like
good.
my first fandom. So
There's like so
So
many things from Sliders that I think about randomly.
The lottery is the one that goes through my
The
head
lottery. I think about the lottery
all the time. Yep, same.
damn, I'm
I've
going to be
only
watching
ever
like
seen
the first,
random episodes of Sliders.
watch the first season. The first season is so fire.
Second season's
Yeah.
good too.
Yeah, maybe a second season too.
I don't know. I've seen them on like TV when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I mean, a kid,
Yeah.
a teenager. So
I've
I
also
don't know
never
who's
I've
seen
also
it.
never seen Farscape. So, there's that.
Me neither.
Farscape is good, but like Sliders, like
Yeah.
it's part of like our teenage years. I feel like it's like saying you didn't see Stargate for me. It's the same thing.
I love Stargate.
It was a great episode. Too bad it's episode 9. I think it's a good cliffhanger for like just before a season finale. I definitely want to watch the finale. I think it's a good cliffhanger. They only have 22 minutes left.
It's
And
not
they have-
extended next week. No,
I don't think so.
I don't know.
It's
Do we have any information on the chat? Is next week in a longer episode? Let us know if you are allowed.
Let's say they only have 22 minutes left next episode. I have no clue how they're gonna solve this. I know it's gonna be crazy. There's no way this next week episode is not insane. But this is such a good start for a two-parter because it's to be continued. So
Yep.
great show.
Loved it. Loved this episode. One of my favorite episodes of Lower Decks, possibly one of my favorite episodes of Star Trek for Garrick and Julian alone. How could you not love it?
I forgot to add them adding Boimler screaming over the credits was amazing. It was the
I
perfect
really
thing to
wish
do.
it was the entire
Same.
credits, right?
I
It
was like, narrator, he did freak out. I was not gonna freak out.
you could have just had Talin say that, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, so good. Let's get to the subspace to pull, and mailbag.
Sodium is not a full life.
And
It is.
it is.
It is.
Yes.
And we asked Trek Threads what they thought about this one, and this is what they had to say. Who wants to read the numbers?
I can do it.
Hit it.
36% said Benjamin was right. 29% said beauty is beyond compare.
Beauty is beyond compare. Jolene.
Jolene.
That's what that was. I hope people got it.
14% said especially the lies. And 21% said Kim Crew.
By the way, there was no wrong answer for this poll this week.
Yeah, I was like, is that bad? Like,
No, these were all just like pick your favorite because there was nothing bad. Like I wasn't gonna let people vote bad on this one. Eric took the poll, so that means MC, can you take Matt Harker's mailbag? Or sorry, no, I'll
That's
start
you.
with mailbag. I messed up. Matt Harker wrote, "Holy guest stars, Batman. Hats off to McMahon for pulling off so many callbacks to our old friends Garrick, Bashir, Kim, Lily, and to fucking pull. Like we don't swear
No
on the
bleep.
show, Matt. There's no bleep. To fucking pull. While I found the technobabble laughable at points, this was an enjoyable wild ride, and I'm really looking forward to seeing our our reality Cerritos crew, literally saving the universe once Boims stops freaking out. Draft, can you take Mars's, please?
Mars wrote, so I decided to squeeze the episode in during nap time at the daycare. The cold open, you all. I had to work so fucking hard to not yell and scream and bang my face on the table. I am so here for Garak and Julian and their kiss. Oh, my little heart. All the Kims, T'Pol, Curzon, Section 31, William Boimler, Lily, and Boimler totally losing his shit? Perfection.
Indeed, perfection. MC, can you, Tara decided to, sorry?
I was like, are you going to sing?
No,
I'm not gonna
I
sing.
am a terrible singer. I can't.
Eric is a good singer. Eric
This is
sings.
Judy Garland.
I'm just going to read it.
I think you're just going to read it. I think you can just read it. I think that's fine.
In your Easter bonnet with all the frills upon it, you'll be the grandest fellow in the Easter parade. I'm putting all my eggs in one basket. I'm betting everything you got on you.
Yep, there's that.
So many questions.
So many questions. Tara, you're going to
That
have to
sounds so
explain why you put the
familiar.
lyrics. It's from a Judy
It's
Garland
Easter
movie.
Parade.
It is Easter Parade.
Yeah, that
Yep.
makes sense. What? I don't remember it.
Can you take Troubles, please, Eric?
Kim Crew. This is what I've been waiting for all season. This is why Lower Decks is such an amazing show and why I still can't understand what the fuck is wrong with Paramount for taking this away from us. The writing of the show and the fanfare was amazing. I wish the show didn't have to end. We have one episode left and I don't know how they're going to top this one. It'll be okay as long as we don't freak out. Proceeds to freak out. We're all going to die.
I really need a Boing Boing scream pad
Yes.
badly.
Like all the different ones too. So you can like,
All the yeah, right.
The whole thing is just
Yeah.
screams.
I have the video I made. I could take them from there. Dave Prime wrote, I've been waiting well over 2 years since William's quote unquote death to see him return. I thought it would not happen, but to see him paired up with Curzon Dax to pull, what the fuck, wow. Lily Sloan, again, what the fuck, wow. But to finally get Bashir and Garak together, although not their prime counterparts, it's nice to see them together in some form. William's level of confidence that Boimler can handle the news of the multiverse's impending doom is Lower Decks at its purest. It's a shame all good things must come to an end. Very, very true, by the way. Draft, can you take Jedi Cats, please?
Jedi Cat wrote, I couldn't watch it until the early morning because my computer did an update that took over 2 hours.
ooh.
Those are the worst.
But it was worth losing a few hours of sleep. My mother was asleep in the next room. What is with people like listening in the down low? My mother was asleep in the next room, so I had to mute my screaming. And there was a lot to scream about. William Boimler and his crew of alternate version legacy characters that deserve a spin-off. And they actually went there and made non-prime Bashir Garak canon. And all the hurricanes were hurt. And I was not expecting T'Pol and Lily Sloan. The episode struck a great balance between its usual humor, fan service, and commentary on multiverse crossover nostalgic tropes in popular media. And talk about a classic Star Trek cliffhanger, Boimler's scream was chef's kiss. To quote another Trek series, I don't want the game to end.
No, me neither. And then MC, take us home with Colin D's, please.
Colin D wrote, holy human Easter eggs, Batman. What a ride. What a fun episode. I mean, Boims finally has his whole purple beard. And the Kims. Leave it to the one who managed to actually get a promotion to be the psycho. Loved seeing Garak and Bashir together. I keep thinking that I couldn't place the voice of Lily. It sounded so much like Don Lewis. Then I saw Alfred Woodard's name and just went, doh. I will just repeat myself here and say, what a fun ride.
By the way, to all the people in the chat who thought that Boims was not going to have the full beard by the end of the season, shame on you. That thing looked glorious. It was glorious. That is going to do it for this one. I don't want the game to end, but we are going to have to end it next Thursday. We are going to have a Star Sun show. I'll announce one guest right now. Amy Imoff is joining us. Our dear friend Amy is going to join us for the finale next week, which is awesome. I'm going to try and see if Brittany can make it. I'm going to try and see if Simon can make it back. So we have our panel. So all
2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours.
It's gonna be
5
fine.
hours.
Yeah. Yeah, so that it'll be a great show for the finale. We hope to do this show justice. I feel like we've been saying goodbye to too many shows on the podcast this year, but that is, I guess, the curse of doing these kind of things. So I'm going to stop talking because it literally hurts. For MC, for Eric, for Giraffe, I am Julian. Live long and prosper. Majram, hit that like and subscribe button. Sarcastic Vulcan, salute, and good night.
Thanks for beaming into our podcast today. If you want to keep the hailing frequencies open, you can subscribe on Apple and Google Podcasts, YouTube, and Spotify. Like what you hear? Put in a good word with Starfleet and leave us a 5-star review.